Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. It is Tuesday. It's St. Patrick's Day. More importantly, it's Butler's birthday eve. Traditionally, this day has always been the day before my birthday. And because traditionally, a guy like me likes a drink or two on his birthday, and everybody else traditionally wants to go out drinking on St. Patrick's Day, then Butler has had to be strategic in how he appropriates his friend's time. And so traditionally, Sean has always gone out celebrating his birthday on St. Patrick's Day, meaning that I've never actually had a birthday since the age of about 16 where I wasn't hanging, absolutely hangtastic, out of my rear end. But not today. I'm older now. So I drink every day, as you know. So I'm hungover every day to some mild extent. And so it doesn't really matter. So we're here today. What's crack-a-lacking, people? I hope you are festively Irish, festively green, which is why I have, where am I? I have a green 7-Up to go with my vodka. And then just in case I need it, I have a green Heineken to wash it down with. Because it's lunchtime here, but some of us chumps have been up since 6 a.m. getting work done, getting things did, you know? How are you? I hope you're all absolutely fantastic, absolutely sensational. I really do. I hope you get yourselves out there and, get your friends out together. Go get a couple of Guinnesses down your gullet, maybe have some potatoes and, I don't know, sing some Irish songs, do some Irish dancing. There'll be some jigging and some shaking going on all over the Irish bars around this here Fair Isle all day long. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic, guys. Guys, smash the like button for me. If you enjoy the content, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Notification button should be squeezed. Comments should be dropped thick and fast. Thick and fast. Get the comments in. Communicate. Engage with me. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. We got some interesting ones. We got some really bright news. We got some injury returns. Lucas Berghvall back on the training ground today. Wowzers. Doesn't mean he'll be ready anytime soon, I wouldn't imagine. But he's training again, which probably gives us, I don't know, maybe a 3-week countdown, 2-week countdown. I think he's back earlier than expected. We've also got Destiny Udogie looking like he's imminent. Super good news. Won't be again ready for probably tomorrow night in all likelihood, but he had some value. He had some absolute value when he comes in. We'll talk about all that in detail. We've also got, where's my notes? We've also got to talk about the Atleti game. And also I want to talk to you about a little Luka Vescovic story, which is quite an interesting one. He wasn't supposed to be coming to Tottenham. He was supposed to be going to Real Madrid. And once again, the wonderful people at, where are they? Where are they from? Sport Witness, right? Sport Witness is a great little publication. They don't actually make stuff up. They just go and grab information from foreign sources that are talking about whatever is related to whatever your keyword is, in my case, Tottenham, and they translate it all for you. And there's a really fascinating story out about Luka Vescovic, and it's titled, How Loose Lips Sink Transfer Ships. He was supposed to be going to Real Madrid. So they're going to talk about that as well. And I do also want to talk to you a little bit about Igor Tudor, right? Because I do want to grab your attention today, guys. I want to ask you whether or not this guy is potentially winning you over with his behavior. And maybe is he winning over the people? I know there's obviously the swing, the pendulum. The pendulum has swung from 99% of people wanting him gone just a couple of days ago. Then the Liverpool game, people are now 50-50. I don't think anyone is like, oh, he's definitely the guy. But I think the people that are in the 50% let him have a crack camp are that, essentially if you wanted him, if the club were willing to give him the chance against Liverpool, then you can't sack him after that particular performance. Again, I know other people will have you believe that the performance was shit. and there was nothing to get positive about at all, not even in the moment, in the minutiae, in the isolation. I don't subscribe to that at all. I disagree fundamentally with that. But this is the other thing, right? Before I get into it, before I get into my rant this morning, I forgot to, of course, plug OK Jersey. The wonderful people over at OK Jersey are offering 8% off at the moment on all of the things in their clubber store. If you're looking for Jeremy Jacques, if you're looking for the latest and greatest in retro numbers, they've got a whole new collection coming every week. Like every week, they're adding new numbers. So just keep going back, keep looking. You never know. You might see the 66 shirt, the 61 shirt. You might see the 125-year shirt. You might see the 84 Holston. There could be all sorts of things that you might be looking to see, and you might well see them in there. So get over there, 8% off at checkout using code Sean. We thank them for the sponsorship. And we, of course, are also available on all of your podcasts. I really am trying to get the podcast thing going, guys. So in a little while, if you at all use podcasts, especially if you use Spotify, but Apple Pods as well. I don't think I've got the Apple Pods link in here, but it's certainly in the description. But as soon as stream elements start, for those of you that are watching live, you will be able to see the links coming down for my Instagram. Please go and follow me over there, The Spurs Talk Show, Twitter at Spurs Talk Show, and obviously Spotify. The link is weird, but just either search me up. Please go and give us a follow over there. Trying to get that podcast thing going. I think we've got about 1,200 followers over there. So there's about 40,000 of you that haven't hit the follow over there. I would appreciate it if you can. Guys, before we get into any of this stuff, right, I just want to say, like, the narrative, right? The pendulum swings. Now, obviously, I frequent, like the Spurs 5, where we have a mixture of different personalities, different types of viewpoints and styles and takes on everything at Tottenham. I go on Savage Show quite a lot. I go on a few other channels here and there. And there's obviously just different people have different takes on where we're at right now. I want to be entirely clear, because I already feel like there's a narrative that's misrepresenting the narrative of the people that at least are sharing my persuasion right now, which is that the Liverpool game and the reasons to be optimistic following it are suddenly represented via some belief that all is good at Tottenham and that there's no problems, and that we're gonna get back into the Atletico Madrid game, win that game comfortably 4-0 tomorrow night. And also Nottingham Forest is no longer a threat. We're going to comfortably walk past that because the boys are going to be buoyed and booed by the 10,000 people that are going to turn up to the bus thing. None of that's true. None of that is true at all. There's also this narrative that those people who are glass half empty or pessimistic, that they are the ones that are speaking the truth and they are reality. And everybody else is in some world of delusion based on whatever the moment is and how people feel in the moment. Both of those things are not true, right? The difference between positive and negative is not the same as truth and fiction. It's like sitting there saying that pillow is soft, and someone else says, no, it isn't, it's blue. They're different things. Positive and negative approaches, viewpoints, stances, narratives, whatever. Positive and negative, the way that you approach something, it has absolutely no bearing on whether what you think about that thing is real or not, whether it's truth or a lie. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how people like merge those things. I'm not negative. I'm just speaking truth. Oh, some of the things that you say are true, but they can also be negative. Some of the things that you say are factual or lies or mistruths. Not you, anyone. Like some of the things that I say might be positive, but they can also still be true. Some of the things that I say might be negative. They also might be lies. Truth and fiction has no bearing on the energy in which that language is spoken. It's just weird. It's weird how people confuse the two. And so I think right now that there is an idea that saying anyone that suddenly felt the need to get a little bit positive, a little bit behind what they saw in the moment, in isolation on Sunday, that they suddenly think that everything's great. And that if it doesn't happen, if tomorrow night it all falls apart, and we lose 3-0, and by the way, there is as likely an outcome tomorrow night where we win the game 2-0 or 3-0 as there is that we lose the game 3-0 because of the contextual environment in which the game has to be played. It's going to be like the second half against Liverpool, open as Bonnie Blue's legs on a Friday night. It's going to be like that for the most part of the game. And if Tottenham get a goal early, it's game on, baby. It's game on. If Tottenham get into that game 2-0 by half time, that second half is going to be fucking interesting and exciting. And I think that most of the people that are watching, that are neutrals, that have got 4 games to choose from tomorrow night, if our game is 2-0 to Spurs at half time, you best believe those numbers, those eyes are going to go to that second half, because as a neutral, what a situation to be diving into. 5-4 on aggregate. Or even if it's 1-0, right? It's all to play for. That last 25 minutes, if we can hold Atletico Madrid off, hold them at bay, if we can, and they have a hell of a lot of talent to be able to hurt us. And like I say, the reason why I think it's as likely or as entirely possible that we are 3-0 down at halftime as it is that we could be 2-0 up is because we have to throw absolute caution to the wind. We have to go more gung-ho than we ever saw in an Ange Postecoglou situation, at least maybe not in the first 5 or 10 minutes, right? Maybe in the first 5 or 10 minutes we build into the game. We don't just go crazy from the get-go, because you could shoot yourself in the foot immediately. But at some point in that game, as long as it's 0-0, Tottenham have to increasingly throw more and more caution to the wind, right? We have to throw more at it. And so with that, of course, you're going to get picked off at times. Not every pass is going to be exceptional. Even if you're Manchester City or if you're Arsenal and you've got the best passing talent in the world, you're still going to misplace passes, because that's just what happens. It's life. People make mistakes. It's football. You're going to be on different wavelengths. And so when that happens, well, they've got Ademola Lookman. They have Julian Alvarez, you know. They got Pablo Barrios, maybe. Koke, whoever, right? Whoever. We'll talk about the team in a minute. But whoever they have, they can run and get at us. And so if those things happen, then you're going to rely on a hell of a lot of luck, because Atletico Madrid will have chances tomorrow night. They absolutely will. But we just need we need a little bit of luck. We need the fans to be completely buoyed and up for it. And it's actually amazing how many seats have been gobbled up on the exchange in the last 24 hours. You know, I was looking at the seats on Saturday. Love that first slurp. Love the first slurp. Rat-a-ta-ta, people. Rat-a-ta-ta. No, wait, I haven't finished the point. The tickets, there were probably 25,000 seats available. There were so many. It was everywhere. Seats. So many seats. Not so many seats now. Not so many seats available. You know? Sean, can you post the link to OK Jersey? I've done that before, Eamon. It's just okjersey. You know what it would be. I don't want to post it because of for a reason. There's a reason why it's not written. You know, what is the vast majority of of websites? How does it finish? And then just put OK Jersey in front of that. Okay, got to be careful, bro. Got to be careful. Anyway, lots of people suddenly interested in the game. Lots of people suddenly interested. And it's not game over. It's going to be incredibly difficult. But like that, you can feel that the momentum, the energy has lifted a little bit with people seeing what they saw on Sunday. And I think that to some extent, I've got to be honest, and I don't know if I'm speaking for myself here, but there's a little bit about Igor Tudor that I really like. I don't know what it is. I think it's because, and listen, I haven't fallen in love with his tactics. I haven't like, I'm not like flip-flopping or anything like that at all, right? Because I never had an opinion on him coming in. And I always said, you know, I never said I think he has to go. I think maybe I might have said he's going to go after the Atletico Madrid game. But because he was given the game for Liverpool, okay, let's see how he does. He did that. He did what he did. His tactics for sure as fuck have been surprising at times. I hated the fact that he played Pedro Porro at right back because he wanted to, or right side of centre back. You know, look, all of these things, it doesn't matter. If you take risks with your tactics, excuse me, if you take risks with your language, if you take risks in life, you look like a legend. You look like an absolute legend if they come off. You look like a fucking idiot if they don't. You know, you've seen those guys who sell all of their worldly belongings. They raise as much capital as they can. And then they go to Vegas and they put it all on red or black and they record the moment. You seen them? Right. I've seen probably 4 of them. I think 1 of them it worked. 3 of them it didn't. Who's the legend? Who's the donut? You take risks. If it works, it was fantastic. If it doesn't, consequences must be paid. The Sousa thing, if that didn't work, if we got smashed, if we got absolutely walked off the park against Liverpool, people would have said he's got to go. What are you doing? You play Pedro Porro right-sided centre-back for 2 games out of the 5 that you've, or 3 games out of the 5 that you've managed. No one would care about the fact that he didn't really have too many other options. He had a couple of other options, but not a huge amount of options. And obviously, you're playing, you know, a right back at left back, a left back at right wing forward. All this stuff, it's crazy. If it doesn't work, you're a dickhead. If it does work, and to some degree, I think it kind of worked, right? He managed to forge some level of cohesion from the team. There was a spirit and a fight and a determination. Then, you know, people are going to look at his decisions in a different light. Some of you will. Some of you won't. Some of you will just say, nah, I'm not on board it. Lubo, for example. I mean, Lubo likes to flip-flop more than fucking he's more than a Javiana brand. It's insane. He changes his mind more times than, you know, Bugsy changes her decision on which way the ball should be thrown. It's a terrible analogy. I haven't had a couple of, I need a second slurp. I'll get better. Hang on. Let me warm up here. But Lubo stayed true, right? Lubo stayed true to his opinion on Igor Tudor. Great result, great performance. He's still got to go. Fair enough. Fair enough. But for me, and I do want to ask this question, I'm going to put a poll up as well. For me, I kind of like Igor Tudor because of the way that he speaks. I kind of like it. I've got to be honest. I fell out of love with Ange Postecoglou. For the Australians that are watching, I know you think that I hate your boy, and I know you hate me for hating your boy and all that stuff. It's all love anyway. I still love you guys either way. I never fell out of love with Ange Postecoglou's tactics. I never had a problem with that stuff. I quite appreciated his kind of stubbornness in that regard. What I fell out of love with was his speak because I saw through it, right? I heard the double speak. And then once I realized he's just a salesman, I was like, this guy's not for me anymore. With Igor Tudor, he ain't a salesman. He just doesn't give a fuck. He don't care. The way that he talks to all these journalists, the way that he cuts the interview short, the way that he treats them like the pieces of shit that they are for constantly trying to like create more sound bites and talking points for their clicks and for their articles to burn more indelible, miserable marks in the minds of Tottenham fans about how shit Tottenham are, and that sort of encourages this pile on from everybody that Tottenham are going down and it's just shit. And he ain't taking it. He doesn't give a fuck, bro. He won't play their game. He cuts their interviews short. He makes them look foolish. And you know what? Neutral fans, and I think a lot of Tottenham fans, have a begrudging respect for the stance and increasing level of disdain for the attempts to encourage that pile-on from the journalist scum that they are. I like it. I also like the fact that he called out the players for their victimhood and their sort of preciousness, as I said a few times, when it's just football and they're making out like, you know, fucking woe is me, I can't handle this, and I don't, like all of that stuff. And he's like, get the fuck off, get on the boat or get off the boat. You know, enough of this. And by the way, he's doing all of that without anybody next to him. He doesn't have his right-hand man. He's Batman without his Robin. You know, he's got no one next to him that he knows. He's got a goalkeeping coach that's managed to squeeze into his team, and I think a data guy, a performance guy, whatever it is. But there's no coaches. There's no Heitinger. There's no Cochrane. There's no Mason. There's not the other guy who fucked off to Colorado. None of them are there. He's by himself. He's by himself, and there's a couple of the Brentford people knocking about that probably resent him because he's not Thomas Frank. He's doing all this by himself. He's under incredible pressure with an insane amount of things that have gone wrong that are outside of his control. Yes, we can point fingers at the results. Yes, we can point fingers at the way that he mistreated Kinsky, and 100% he deserves all of the criticism for that, right? And rightly so. Rightly so. But you know what? You know, it was Micky van der Ven that got sent off in the Crystal Palace game when we were 1-0 up and fucked that game, right? We don't know what would have happened had Micky van der Ven stayed on the pitch. People forget that, right? When it comes to analysing Igor Tudor, they just say you've lost your first 4 games. Context is irrelevant. You've lost your first 4. You were brought in to kind of steer the ship into the right direction, and we're sinking faster. He's got to go. And listen, I'm not saying that's a wrong take, because at the end of the day, you have to live and breathe by, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? And so that's it. But he's like, there's no point in moaning about it. And I respect that. You haven't heard him mention, you know, you've heard him say, you know, everything that's gone wrong, everything that's going wrong could go wrong. There's lots of problems at this football club. He said that, right? But he's also saying the solution is to stop fucking moaning and just get on with it. Fight and stay up. And I jive with that narrative. Not saying that I'm like Tudor in. I'm just calling it as I see it. My truth, or the truth. You know, it's facts, bro. That's what he said. It's facts. Yeah, it is facts. It is facts that he said it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong just because he said something. I think that I can jam with that. He sort of puts the jam back in my fucking donut, people. You know? He sort of put the jam back in my donut. And don't forget, right, the Atletico Madrid thing. All right, it was his fault for picking Kinsky. Was it his fault that the entire team didn't change their footwear, get the right studs, or that there's oil on the pitch? There's oil snuck into the grass watering development? I don't know. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, he's the manager. There's 4 losses, 4 L's. It ain't looking good. Everyone's saying he's got to go. And then most people would say, yeah, obviously this happened and that happened and that happened. Yeah, but. Well, like the yeah, but thing pisses me off as well, because I do think you need to kind of bake that into the context of whether or not, you know, is it reasonable just to say this guy's got to go when it was Micky van der Ven that fucked us in the Palace game, and he almost fucked us in the Madrid game, and he should have been sent off in that game. And then he's also one of the guys moping around saying, I don't care if we go down. Right? That guy for me is like, is he getting enough disdain? Is he getting enough finger pointing at him? There's a few of us talking about him quite a lot. But I want to ask you guys, what do we do tomorrow night? Do you put him straight back in the team? Do you put him straight back in the team because Dragassin's not good enough passer? Do you? I want to show you like the stats on Micky van der Ven in just a minute, right? Before I do, I got to come and say hello to the chat because I'm 25 minutes in and I haven't said anything yet. Big up to you all. What's going on? Let's get screw up to the top. There's a lot of people. Let's do the super chats first. I didn't see these. Boxy, mate, you're out in Japan. Must be 9 a.m. or something over there. Are you all slept? You caught up with the football, mate? Thank you so much, Boxy, mate. Listen, you don't have to do that, mate. It's cost you a fortune, mate. $20 every stream or whatever. It's mental. I'm so appreciative, Boxy, mate. But you know, some of your guys' super chat bills must be insane just for showing your support. I genuinely do mean it. I really do mean it. But you know, the content is free. It's the ads that should pay for the that should compensate me. You know, I'm not saying like don't do it, but I'm not saying you. I'm absolutely super generous to all of you that do this, all of them, whatever you do, whenever you do it, how often you do it. Thank you so much. But it's not really upon you guys to do that, right? It's the YouTube take enough. YouTube should be able to suffice. But I really do appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. Bitboxy, an absolute legend, mate. Actually, I didn't do the super choo-choo to you, Norris, did I? The first super sticker, something bad's going to happen. You know? Got my first birthday present today. Someone sent me a little silver pendant for my keychain, my key ring. It's a silver, a picture of like a silver thing with I think it's Saint Christopher on it, who's the patron saint of finding lost things. So I'm hopeful that he's arrived just in time to help my team find some form and try and find a few points for our league running. Big up to the person who bought me that. Absolutely sensational. Big up to you, mate. Choo-choo to you, Boxy. Choo-choo to you as well, Georgie. Thank you so much as well, mate. Same goes, man. You guys don't need to do this. I really do appreciate you. Really do appreciate everyone who does it. It's very, very generous. Thank you so much. And Rain, come on, you Spurs. Rain up. Big up, Rain. Oh, I'm a super chat guy, right? I'm a super chat guy. Big up to you, Raino. Of course, Cheetah's got a data guy. Oh, God, it could be you, Rain. It could be you. Everyone needs a good data guy. Whether Tudor stays or goes surely depends on who's the new director of football is. Yeah. Do you know what? I was talking about this earlier on with Johnny. Like, if Tottenham can stay up, thank you, Rain. If Tottenham can stay up, right, and then you go and get yourself, like, you get rid of Johan Lang, right? First thing is first, right? He's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. I want to talk about my DOF. Get rid of him. You bring in Dougie Freedman, and then you maybe go and get Unai Emery. Right? Constant reports right now, guys, that Unai Emery is he's sick and tired of whatever's happening at Aston Villa. Sick and tired of it. Look, if there's a guy you can get, you add him on that shortlist immediately. Immediately. I know that donut from the Sun, who's the Man United correspondent, doesn't think that he's top tier enough to manage Manchester United. But fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I think you're an absolute moron, but I'm not going to argue with you. Don't go. Don't go to Man United. Come to Tottenham. You let someone if Dougie Freedman and Unai Emery could forge a good relationship, wouldn't you all go, wow, that's a team. That's a team that you know is going to, Dougie Freedman's eye for talent is sensational. You know he's fantastic at finding players that are the next top tier, the next tier of fantastic players, right? You know he's that good. And he knows how to organize the football club as well. It's not just about talent ID, obviously, but you know he could bring in the scouts that he likes. So fuck Rob McKenzie off as well. He's got to go. You bring in the scouts, you bring in whatever he thinks the data guys that he wants. You let him run that shit, and then you bring in an Unai Emery. I mean, at that point, all of a sudden I go, all right, as long as these two get to decide what happens with the footballing stuff, I'll back it. Even though, no one knew who Elise was before he became who Elise was. No one knew who Eze was before he became the version of Eze that we saw. Some people saw him at QPR, etc. All that stuff, right? But generally speaking, no one knew who Jean-Philippe Mateta was. No one knew who Adam Walton was. Really, people were looking at him and going, yeah, he's a good player when he was at Middlesbrough, wherever he was. I forget. Blackburn, was it? People were sort of aware, but these guys became these sort of guys when they got to Crystal Palace, right? So Dougie Freedman has the opportunity, has the stones to take a punt. So if Dougie Freedman was to come to Tottenham, then a lot of the names we would be linked with would probably be players that are slightly unknown, But I think that you could trust Dougie Freedman to find the next Dele Alli, to find the next Son, to find the next Ericsson. As long as people like Vinay make sure that there's clear lines of responsibility, shut this fucking 2 DOF bollocks down. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. More hands make lighter work is nonsense in that regard. Big up to you, Drewski. Big up Jeffy boy. Smash like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to share. Absolutely fantastic. If you were to do that, for me, that's the sort of outcome I want from this. I want us to stay up, as Johnny says, near fatal car crash, right? But you survive, you get to go again, and they realize the error of their ways. They sack the donuts that have contributed to us being in this situation. They bring in people that we know have been there and done it and seen it at the very best and the very highest talents. And then you trust that manager, right? You don't sack Unai Emery after 8 games or 10 games or 6 months because you know that he can do it. You know he's the guy. Right? There's no question. There was a question about whether Thomas Frank can step up to a bigger goldfish bowl. There was a question. I said that. I said it before he came. I also said, how do we know that Thomas Frank's success is really down to him, or is it down to the data and the organization's kind of just complete full gamut of understanding of football that a series of managers have been the beneficiaries of? And we wouldn't have known at Brentford because Thomas Frank's been there for so long. But you can look at a very similar club in Brighton and gauge the same thing. You know, was Graham Potter really responsible for the growth that was found under the likes of Cucurella and Alexis McAllister and Caicedo? Or was he just a beneficiary, a manager that was a good fit because he was identified for a reason, but a manager that was a good fit for that club because of this overarching, unbelievable ecosystem that already exists? Well, let's say you don't know with Thomas Frank, but with Graham Potter, what did he do afterwards? He failed at Chelsea, he failed at West Ham. What happened at Brentford? You can make an argument that Andrews would have manager of the season if it wasn't for Arteta. Right? If it's not Arteta that wins the manager of the season, at this stage, you probably give it to Andrews, right? Because he's lost everybody. He's lost every single person in his setup has come to Tottenham. He takes over and he's probably on par on course for Brentford's best ever European Premier League season finish, despite losing all of their players, all of their staff, and he just runs with it. So again, is it Andrews, or did Matthew Benham's data model and ecosystem identify that the best fit for the job for the next guy was Andrews? Because at some point he wasn't at Brentford. He was brought in because the data observed that he was the right fit for the Brentford model, and then you bring him in, let him learn the Brentford model under Thomas Frank, and then when Thomas Frank goes, perfect glove, white glove service, hand in glove, natural next step. But he's taken them to another level. But you don't have that question with Unai Emery. You don't have it, right? He was unfortunate to get sacked by Arsenal. He did amazing in the Europa League or the old UEFA Cup when he was in Spain. He goes to Aston Villa, turns them into a powerhouse in 3 or 4 years. There's no question for me about whether Unai Emery could take Tottenham back from where we are to where we used to be. Whether he can take us to the next level and become a title challenger again in 5-6 years' time. Again, I'm getting way ahead of myself because we're nowhere near that conversation. But at the moment, it doesn't matter whether he's not a tier 1 manager. Is he someone that's better than what we have? And you should absolutely trust him to figure it out at Tottenham if given the resources and if given the right guy alongside him that is not making donut decisions and vetoing, but where they are, like in sync, chemistry. So for me, if it's true that Tottenham have put him on the list, and if it's true that Unai Emery are 100% thinking about parting ways with Unai Emery because he can't stand living within the restrictions of FFP, and apparently after the Man United game, there was all hell that broke loose in the dressing room. You put Unai Emery, for me, above Pochettino. I'm going to say it right now. Pochettino, for me, is not as dream world stuff as Unai Emery is. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a 1 if you agree with that. Emery above Poch, smash a 1. Poch above Emery, smash a 0. Let me know. Absolutely fantastic, Lewis, bit on the side. George has come back in saying, happy birthday, Sean. Appreciate you, mate. It's tomorrow, but I really appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. Chin chin. Cheers, cheers. We got a show going on straight after this in an hour's time at 2:45. 1 second, guys. 1 second. We got a show with Johnny Boy over on Football Inc. So we'll get us over there. We'll carry on the conversation. Big up to you, Georgie. Big up to you, Georgie. Happy birthday, my man. Happy St. Patrick's Day from Eamon O'Shea. Happy Patrick's Day to you, my man. What are you doing today? What time does Guinness o'clock start for you? I'm hoping relatively soon. Do you know what I don't like about this whole alcohol-free stuff, right? I go to see my dad in the pubs in London. So a pint of Guinness costs you £8. A pint of non-alcoholic Guinness costs you £8.50. Square that circle. Square that circle for me. Isn't about £5 in every £8? Isn't like 60% of the price of a pint in tax, alcohol tax? How is it then that non-alcoholic beer costs more in a pub? Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely. If I don't see you tomorrow, Sue, then thank you very much indeed. I won't see you tomorrow, Sue, because I'll be absolutely tanked up all day long. Rat-a-ta-ta. I'll be down on the Maggie Nub-Nums outside the game, I think, outside the stadium. Big up to you, Sue. Thanks for stopping by. Supply and demand, Sean. Yeah, good point, Sean. Good point. But it is a fucking piss take, though, isn't it? You know, it is a piss take. Where was I on the story? So Unai Emery, did I get the ones and zeros? Did you play the ones and zeros game? Not many. Oh, you did. A few you did. Let's have a look. Where did we get to? So one was Emery over Poch. 0 was Poch over Emery. Emery. Oh, Tom's saying it 10 times. Tom, don't spam. Fiona's 1. Sean's 1. Jake Evans wants Poch. Room wants Poch. Most of you want Emery. Flixie, big up to you, Flixie. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Good to see you. I will text you, mate. Sorry, I didn't. I saw your message. I use Instagram on my phone. Instagram on my computer, so I didn't have my phone handy. I will text you. Get you on the show, mate. I'll get you on the show soon. Most of you want Emery, I think. Sava wants Emery. Yeah, big up, Sav. Kevin Smith wants Emery. I would take Emery. Oh, well, sorry, no, I wouldn't take him. I'd bite your fucking hand off for him. The geezer has proven it. There's no question marks around whether he can handle Tottenham Hotspur's size. There's no question marks around whether he's got the talent. Do you like his football? 100%. If given the resources, can he attract players? Like how many times was it Pau Torres? Was it Pau Torres who said that we were looking after he wanted to go and work with Emery? Right, so he's got the draw. A lot of players in Spain, a lot of continental players respect him and would come and work with him, work for him, play for him. It's not really, for me, it would be, I'd suddenly go, oh, fucking, okay, Tottenham, all of a sudden, making a good decision. Now, who's the DOF? Who's the DOF? Well, it's not going to be Johan Lang. We're not going to get Unai Emery if we have Johan Lang, because Unai Emery was part of the conversation that got Johan Lang kicked out or demoted when Monchi came in. So Unai Emery turned around and said, I don't want to work with this geezer. Go and get me Monchi. Johan Lang gets demoted to basically T-Boy. And then eventually we go and bring T-Boy over to us. So Johan Lang's never going to want to work with Unai Emery. And Unai Emery wouldn't want to work with Johan Lang. So another reason why we need Vinay to sit there and give up this bollocky fucking two heads are better than one bullshit, because they're not, if one of the heads is Johan Lang. You know? And for me, Johan Lang has proven, if the reports that we see are true, again, never knowing if they are or they aren't, but assuming that some of them are true, then he's also quite cliquey, isn't he? He's more than happy to like try and forge, you know, little camps within the decision making to make sure that, you know, he's kind of political, right? And I don't like that bollocks. I think you should be doing what's best in the best interest of the football club, not what's in the best interest of yourself. But those things, that's just life. People are always going to do that. So yeah, Unai Emery for me would be fantastic. But in order for that to happen, you need to get rid of Unai Emery. You need to get rid of Johan Lang. And if you're going to get rid of Johan Lang, well, who do you go for? Well, there's a few names out there, aren't there? You know. But the most important next decision that Vinay makes, if Vinay is still making the decisions, is the DOF. And it has to be, as I say, I don't want to keep barking on. It has to be not to work alongside Johan Lang. That's a proven failed experiment. Proven failed experiment. You know, you have to be a certain type of character to have got to a position where you're the DOF of a fucking Premier League football club and you're happy to hold hands with someone else and share the glory, share the credit, and not let politics get in the way. I know Paul Winstanley does it at Chelsea. Right? But is that working? I mean, the only thing that was working at Chelsea is their ability to create shenanigans and get away with murder, which we haven't spoken about on this channel yet. But like that whole £10 million fine thing and a slap on the wrist with a transfer ban for just their youth academy, it's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And you know what that also means, by the way? They've set a precedent for rule breaches. You know what's going to happen. Manchester City, if let's just say, for example, they come out and say, yeah, Manchester City were guilty of 3 times as many breaches as Chelsea were. Well, the fine is £30 million or £40 million. Why justify that? Well, because Chelsea got £10 million fine. So otherwise it would be unfair if we, went more exorbitant. So they've set a precedent for that bollocks, and they're going to get away with it. It's insane. And also, why is it that the Premier League get the money? The Premier League weren't the victims of the absolute disgrace. It was an illegal transfer to bring in Eden Hazard. Illegal transfer. And he was an incredible player for them that season. The most important player. Willian. We were the victims of the Willian deal. We were going to sign Willian. We even paid for the geezer's Uber. And he fucked off to Chelsea, signed for them because of dodgy agent payments. Do we get compensation? He was their player of the season the year after that. That next season. That season. He was the player of their season. Helped them win trophies. Why does the compensation go to the people that don't make the fucking rules tightly enough? How are they getting paid? And also, how much money has the Premier League spent on lawyers' fees just to get £10 million back? I guarantee you it's more than 10 bar. Guarantee it. It's so fucking stupid. It's corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. Anyway, getting well off the point. Because way back before I didn't even come to say hello to most of you guys in the end, did I? I'm all over the place today, aren't I? Absolutely fantastic. Waffle of absolute epic proportions over there. Absolutely fantastic. That's all right, mate. I know you're a good man. 100% agree with the Emery take, Sean. Well, I 100% agree with your 100% agreement. How about that? So we are aligned, Baker. We're aligned. That for the first time? Normally you're coming after me, aren't you? Absolute corruption. Absolute corruption, RFS. Absolute corruption. So anyway, I was talking about Micky van der Ven, wasn't I? I think I was. Where's my vape? So Micky van der Ven. This is the question I wanted to ask you, right? With regards to Igor Tudor, this is it. We go back full 360. Full 360. Igor Tudor, for me, I got no idea about his tactics. I'm not making a claim on his managerial style. I'm just talking about his personality. I've got to be honest. I kind of rate it. I kind of like it. I like the fact that he gives zero fucks. I like the fact that he makes the journalists look like they're fucking idiots. I like that. Do you? Let me know. I also rate the fact that he called out the wimpish mentality, and I kind of rate the fact that it looked like the players that were on the pitch reacted to it. And I hope, but I don't know, I hope that the players have seen a little bit about the pressure or the style of communication that's coming at him from the media, and the fact that that he's just brushed them all away and told them they're all donuts and bozos. I hope that some of the players have gone, I quite respect that. I hope so. I've got no idea if they have or they haven't. We'll find out, right? Because one swallow doesn't make a summer, and it's a very, very, very small sample size to get to change your mind about the manager. But every little bit of data, every new piece of data should influence your opinion. Right? If you're someone that if you've made your mind up, like, I don't want to get into politics, but if you made your mind up on, let's say, Keir Starmer, and you think the guy's an absolute idiot, if tomorrow he does something which makes a policy which is, universally well received, then you shouldn't hate it just because you hated him yesterday, right? You should always leave a little part of your mind open to let new information shape your current opinion. Doesn't mean that you're a flip-flop. It's only a flip-flop if you change your mind because there's no new information apart from public opinion pivoting this way and that way, or someone's persuading you by twisting your arm, or you're basically guilty of peer pressure. Then I don't respect people that change their opinion because they're not on the popular side of something. But if new information comes along, then you should always adapt and adjust and recalibrate your opinion according to how you currently feel, according to what you currently know. And one game is definitely not enough to change. It shouldn't be enough to entirely change your opinion on a person's overall viability to do the job. But I do wonder whether or not the players are looking at some of the ways that he's dealing with certain things and have a bit of a growing respect for him. Maybe he's a grower, not a shower. Pause. And like I say, I think that we are guilty as fans of kind of butting all of the context. I'm not talking about injuries, so to speak. I'm talking about the context of what happened in the Atletico Madrid game, the context of what happened in the Crystal Palace game. People make the argument in the Crystal Palace game, we were lucky to be 1-0 up. We might have, we were kind of under the pressure. We were under the cosh a little bit. So you never know what's going to happen, right? You don't know. It's a whole new timeline of reality. If Micky van der Ven doesn't do that, that tackle and gets sent off, then it doesn't mean that we would have stayed 1-0 up or won the game, but it might have done. But Micky van der Ven fundamentally screwed us in that game, or the referee did. Either way, right? Either it wasn't a red card. If that's your persuasion, then the ref fucked us. Fundamentally changed altered the outcome of that game in a massive way. Or Micky van der Ven did. In the Palace, in the Arsenal game, there was really no excuses. We were just beaten by the better team and didn't really put up a fight. Poor tactics, poor execution by the players, and we were just limp, right? Fulham, I think we were really poor as well. And again, odd tactics, playing Pedro Porro. But the last couple of games, I think that there's more context than people want to include, because it's the headline that matters, right? There's no asterisks in life. There's only scoreboards, and the scoreboard says that he's 0-4. If Micky van der Ven was sent off against Liverpool, against Palace, you could make the argument that Van Dijk should have been sent off against Tottenham. And once again, the referee, we didn't get the rub of the green. If he does get sent off, at what stage was that in the game? That was when we were 1-0 down. What was that, in about the 50th minute? Last 40 minutes, Van Dijk's gone. We get a pen or at least a free kick if it starts outside the area, whatever. Maybe we don't score it and maybe hang on to 1-0. So again, new timelines of reality, but context. Igor Tudor's not involved in those things. Once the game starts, it's over to the players. I'm not making any outlandish commentary about Igor Tudor's viability as a manager here. I just think that there's part of me that I appreciate the fact that he's not sitting there bemoaning all these things. He's not sitting there reminding, when these journalists are saying, "Are you the right guy for the job?" If he was to say, "Well, are the referees the right guys for their jobs? Is Micky van der Ven the right guy for the job?" He doesn't say any of those things. He just says, "Shut the fuck up. I'm done talking to you about this bullshit. And by the way, if you want to ask me about the players, yeah, they need to, and the football club, there's lots of problems, but they need to get on with it, because that's what we're here to do." And I'm warming to him. I'm warming to the personality, 100%. I'd like to know your thoughts. So tell me if you are, or tell me if you're not. Smash a 1 if you, or give me a W and an L. W and L. W chat if you think that Igor Tudor is growing on you like a pimple. Smash an L if you think that he's just a bit of a bozo that just doesn't care, and it looks bad. Let me know. Meanwhile, there's a couple of super chiddly chit chats to get to. Sean Hurl, be up to you, Shawnee. How are you, mate? He says, "I hate Arsenal, but I detest Chelsea. Corruption FC." I hate Chelsea more than I hate Arsenal. I hate Chelsea more than I hate Arsenal, 100%. Because I always respected Arsenal, the way that they went about their business under Arsene Wenger. They didn't buy their success. They earned it mostly organically. And I think that Arsene Wenger, even though most people think of him as a legend, there's a lot of Arsenal fans that remember the kind of later years and they resent him for some reason. But actually, the way that he managed to conduct himself whilst they were going through the early monetary pains of having their new stadium, most people overlook. He had to sell all of their best players every season, and he still made them competitive, still kept them competing at the top. You know, obviously more recently, the Cronkies have sort of bent the rules a little bit with their loan finance stuff. And obviously, I can't stand Arteta, and I hate the Arsenal fan base because they're just Arsenal fans. But my hatred of Chelsea is probably deeper than my hatred of Arsenal for sure. 100%. Big up to you, Shawnee. And John Turley, my man out in Japan. Big up to you, John. How are you, buddy? How are you, bro? Hope Japan's keeping you well. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Choo-choo to you. Choo-choo to you. Now, let me see where we go with the W's and the L's. W's and the L's. What are we saying here? What are we saying? WW. He's growing on a lot of you as well. Growing on you. Growing on you. Growing on you. Growing. Scott M doesn't like it. Scott M doesn't like nothing. Now, there's a man who stays consistent. There's a man who stays consistent. Everything is fucking horrible in Scott's mind about Tottenham Hotspur. He hates the players. He hates the manager. He probably hates the fans. Probably hates me. I respect it, Scott. I respect it. Standards, bro. Standards. WW. Lots of W's. A D for Tom. Doesn't play the game, this Tom, does he? Doesn't play the game. I respect that as well. WWW. M. What's an M? What's an M? The opposite of W? Sack him, says Rum Scully. Fair enough. WWW. I think he gets misunderstood because of his Eastern European directness. Listen, if he dies, he dies. WWW. L for Taylor. All right, listen, I think a lot of you have sort of like, yeah, I think you guys are sort of on board it a little bit. I hate fans, but you're all right, even if you have terrible takes. Don't you start on my Mathys Tel, mate. We're going to fall out again. We will fall out. We will fall out. I love his directness, Sonny J. I do love his directness as well, my man. I do love it. I do love it. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. If we think that Micky van der Ven is a problem child and a bit of a bozo and a bit of a I'm too good for most people. Oh, this is what I was going to do before I was going to get to that. This is what I was going to do. Data MB. We did this on Sabbath show the other night. I want to bring it up. Compare centre backs. This, for me, is why I don't think he's going to be that much of a miss. Yeah, that'll do. Let me show you. Let me show you. All right. So, those are our four centre backs. Radu Dragusin, who everyone says is a terrible person, terrible player, sorry. Micky van der Ven, Romero, and Kevin Danso. I'm sorry. Like, Kevin Danso is my boy. Christian Romero fills up more of that than either of the other two. I've made this point to you 1,000 times, guys. Micky van der Ven is terrible in the air. We make out like he's a fantastic carrier of the ball, but actually, Radu Dragusin and Kevin Danso have successfully carried the ball more times than he has this season. Obviously, there's no context of the environment of how closely, like when were they carrying it, how were they carrying it, how far were they carrying it, whatever. But just in terms of overall numbers, the two players that you would expect not to be the best carriers out of the four actually carry the ball more successfully. Passing, there's not a lot of difference apart from Micky van der Ven is the worst of the four of them. And actually, Radu Dragusin is the second best, just behind Kevin Danso. Now, forward pass percentages, obviously, Radu Dragusin just turns around and gives it back to the goalkeeper most of the time. But actually, he does progress the ball just slightly more than Danso. But look at Micky van der Ven. I'm sorry. Micky van der Ven's defensive duel percentages, it's absolutely sham fucking bollock. Sham fucking bollock. And his possessions won. Like, there's probably not that many centre-backs in the Premier League or in Europe. Sorry, this is top 5 leagues of Europe. There's probably not that many centre-backs in the top 5 leagues that win possession less or fewer times than Micky van der Ven does. The only notable outperformance is his forward pass percentage. But that just means the amount of the passes that he makes, which isn't very many, how many of them are more forward passes rather than sideways or progressive or whatever else. You know? I think Tottenham fans are guilty of thinking that Micky van der Ven is better than he is. And I think the world of football are guilty of thinking he's better than he is. If you can get 100 million quid for that bozo in the summer, you bite someone's fucking hand off. You bite their hand off for him. Go and get me a top, like with the 100 million quid. What about this fella? Actually, I've never even looked to see what his stats are. This could be completely embarrassing here if they look shit. Oh, look. Jared Branthwaite, right? Rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. You go and get me him. He's a year younger than Micky van der Ven. Why not? Why not? Doesn't pass the ball as much. Different style of football. Go and get me Jared Branthwaite. Go and get me this geezer from Brighton. Unbelievable. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. The best carrying centre-back in the game. If you want someone to play out from the back, doesn't win as many headers, it's okay. You've got other options. I know it's getting a little bit crowded. Let me get rid of Dragasin. Let me get rid of... let me get rid of... Well, let's leave that for a second. You know? How about Senesi? What's he look like? God, Senesi's a weird one, isn't it? Look. Progressive passes. There's no one who wins the possession more than Senesi for Bournemouth. Defensive duel percentage is pretty average. Shocking in the air. Shocking with forward passes. Unbelievable carrier. So it depends what sort of football you want to be. He's on a free transfer in the summer. You could get him probably for a fraction of the price that you'd pay for Van der Ven, who's only a year older, or Van der Ven's a year younger. You know, would you guys not be happy with if you sold him and let's say pick one of, let's say he goes as well in the summer. If you had those four as your centre back, if you had Kevin Danso, Branthwaite, Van Heck, and Senesi, and then this guy comes back. I mean, isn't that a dream world four ball centre back partnership? You know, Senesi's a free transfer. Of course, all of this presumes that we're going to stay up. If we go down, forget all that. Forget every single one of them. You might be lucky to keep Kevin Danso. But those 5 centre backs could be at Tottenham Hotspur. If you were to sell Romero and Micky van der Ven in the summer, if both of those players don't want to be here, if they both think that they're better than Tottenham Hotspur, you sell them. If you could convince Jared Branthwaite to come, you could easily sell those two, bring in Senesi and Branthwaite, and you'd still have 60, 70 million quid left over. Vuskovic is on there, Chris. Vuskovic is on there. Vuskovic is the kind of the orange, the guy who wins 100% of his defensive duels. He's like a pink colour. I'll make it a bit clearer. Let me get rid of someone. Hang on. Let me get rid of Van Heck for a second. So if you bring in Jared Branthwaite and Senesi next summer, right? So you've got your left-sided centre-back in Branthwaite. You've got Senesi that can play on the right. You've got Kevin Danso that can play on both sides. You've got Luka Vuskovic that can play on both sides or in the middle of a back three. I mean, I don't hate that at all. And then you still got Dragasin as your 5th choice, but I don't really care if you get rid of Dragasin anyway. But his agent thinks the geezer belongs at Real Madrid. I mean, do me a fucking favor. But you understand what I mean, right? You could easily sell both of those two players for like 140 million quid for or maybe 135 million quid, something like that. 130 million quid for Romero and Micky van der Ven. Easy, right? And if this guy wants to go, why can't I get Pedro Porro? Oh, because it's centre back. Hang on a second. If this guy wants to go, and you can go and get this guy. Oh, fucking hell. Looks weird. I'm surprised by that. Surprised by Coyote. Doesn't win that much of his defensive duels. He's great in the air. I'm surprised by Pedro Porro there. This is important, though, isn't it, for a fullback? This is important. And it's so under ranked, you know. Anyway, I wanted to make the point. So on that note, I want to ask you this question: what do you do tomorrow night with our left-sided centre-back spot? Yeah, when he's happy, when he's up for it, Mauler, when he's in a good mood. But this season, he just looks like he's rattled all the time. He looks like he's screaming and shouting at his teammates. He's arguing with. He just looks angry all the time. He doesn't look happy. He looks really, really angry. You know. And what I want to know is about these players. If every single player feels the same way, that the club didn't go out and buy better players. You can only have 25 people in the squad, right? So if they all think that their teammates aren't good enough, are they not all basically throwing all of them under the bus? Does that make sense? Like if Romero's sitting there saying this club hasn't supported the playing staff, and Porro's saying, yeah, I agree, and Richarlison's saying, I agree, isn't Romero basically saying that Richarlison and Porro aren't good enough? If Porro's saying it, isn't he saying that these other guys aren't good enough? Who is it that they're saying aren't good enough? Because you can only have 25 men in the squad. So if you want better players, then that means some players have to leave. And that, I believe, is also probably in the minds of other players in the team that are sitting there going, you're so pissed off with the quality of the squad. You're basically saying that I'm not good enough. You know? That's where I'm at with it. Anyway, that's what I think. If he looks happy, Sean, you'll say he looks like he doesn't care. That's unfair. I don't think I'd say that. I'm not complaining that he's unhappy. I'm just saying he doesn't look happy. It's just an observation. He doesn't look happy, which is why I'm suggesting that he wants out. And I love Pedro Porro. I've got 2 shirts with his name on it. I never wear them because they don't fit, but you know, that's a different conversation. What's Sonny saying? Okay, maybe not him. Oh, you're talking to someone else. You could be saying that the bottom 8 aren't good enough to challenge for the EPL. Yeah, true. So this is the question, right? He shouldn't try Van der Ven as a left back. I'd like to see it. Again, though, it'll be called an experiment. And if Igor Tudor does it, and I wouldn't put it past Igor Tudor because I think he's at the point where he doesn't give a fuck. He's not doing me, bro. And listen, Micky van der Ven plays as a left back for Holland. I'm not sure if he plays it very well. You know, I don't remember ever hearing or reading an international break roundup where I saw Micky van der Ven unbelievable down the left-hand side bombing forward. But I wouldn't hate seeing it. It's just it's the question of like, do you want to see Dragusin playing on the left, or do you want to see Micky van der Ven on the left-sided centre-back? Or tomorrow night, do you want to see Romero come back in and then Kevin Danso get moved to the left-hand side? I'd be okay with that because Kevin Danso plays on the left side of the centre-backs for Austria. So I'd be okay with that. Would you? Let me know. And if so, then Dragoson's on the bench. Now we might be seeing Destiny Udogie back. In fact, let's have a look at some. I've got some news. I haven't even been going for an hour. I haven't even brought up any of the news for you. This is from Football London. Hate their website. Have I told you before? Igor Tudor has been given a huge boost ahead of Tottenham Hotspur's clash against Madrid in the second leg of the Champions League last 16. They must overcome a 3-goal deficit when they lock horns with Diego Simeone's side on Wednesday night if they're to progress to the next round. Yada, yada, yada. Although Atletico may still fancy their chances, Tudor looks set to welcome some big names back to the matchday squad on Tuesday morning. Lucas Berghvall, Christian Romero, and Destiny Udogie return to action at Hotspur Way. João Palhinha and James Maddison trained separately from the group, while Richalison worked alone in the gym. There was no sign of Conor Gallagher, who was left out of the Tottenham squad at Anfield on Sunday afternoon. In the absence of the former Chelsea midfielder, whom Spurs signed from Atletico for £35 million in January, Pape Sarr, Archie Gray started the clash against Liverpool. On the duo, Tudor said, I like them very much in the Atleti game as well, in the middle. They have both things, good energy, running, even quality. I would like to have this consistency with the team, you know, like other coaches. Today, seeing the bench of Liverpool, it's like, it makes you feel different. So without having a complete squad at the time, you can't work on a daily basis. Everything is almost impossible. The job is hard to do. Sometimes maybe you cannot even imagine because you are outside how difficult is the job to do here. And in the end, it's always about results. That's what I'm talking about, guys. There's no scoreboard. There's no asterisks in life. There's only scoreboards. So if there are no results, you know, it's always like someone who is charged. He's not working good. He's not good enough, but okay. On whether the players are behind him, the international boss said, when you analyze any kind of coach, you need to see what were the games. So when I watched the last 2 games, I'm here. It was 4 games. Let's see. First 2 games and then the other 2 games. When you watch the games, I think there is nothing to comment from the football point of view. When I watch our 2 games and I need to have comment on the coach, I cannot. I don't know I don't even know what he's saying. There is nothing to comment. So when you get the red card, you have 1-0 and what happened last game. So all those who are speaking and comment, what can you say? If you are honest with you, make analysis of the coach. Think after these 2 games, what can I say? There is nothing to comment. There is nothing about football. There is nothing about football, you know. So job of a coach, you know how it is. I am coaching 15 years. Never was thinking 1 second about my future. 1 second even. I never think about my future, my past. I always think about training tomorrow, how to help the players, and don't read nothing. Don't watch nothing. Future is just imagination. Future don't exist. I fucking love this guy. I got no idea what he's trying to say. I got no idea what he's saying. I think he's basically saying, all you're talking about is me. You're not talking about anything else. You're not talking about the football. And you can talk about me as much as you want. It doesn't bother me. But I think that's what he's saying. It's a constant thing of today or tomorrow training. So, you know, I just don't know. So just losing energy, thinking what will happen. Don't give you nothing. Never. This job in football, in life, nothing. Just focus on now. Here, that's the key. Fucking brilliant. I've got absolutely no clue. Ah, dear. For the players even, you could get away from the fever in this way. What is thinking what will happen? Bring you in a state of mind, which is not give you nothing. So stay now. Be focused. What you can change? That's what every coach is doing. Anyway, can we get back to the fucking... That's it. Okay. That's it. That is hilarious. That's hilarious. So, okay. So we have got... it looks like... He's easier to understand when you see him speaking. Like, yeah. No, listen, it's easy to understand. Nothing. You do nothing. We talk nothing. Football, nothing. In life, it's like life, football. It will be any given Sunday. Al Pacino, we claw fingernails. No fingernails. You chew off fingernails. We want to claw with fingernails for that inch, but inch become feet. Feet become, 2 foot. Foot tackle, red card, no one talk, comment, nails, no nails, nervous, everyone bite nails. Oh dear. Igor Tudor. my good God. Let's have a look, see. Can we do it? Can we do it? I have to fucking do it. I have to do it, aren't I? 1 second, guys. 1 second. What are we doing here? What's going on here? Where's my Igor Tudor? Where is he? One second, people. 1 second. Hello. In life, football, no fingernails. You try, you chew, claw with inch for any given Sunday. No, we'd like nothing, no comment. Always talk about manager. No, life. Try harder. Don't think future. No point. No past. Present. Nails. Chew. Igor Tudor. Don't be nervous. Stop being victim. It's pretty easy. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What are we doing here? Listen, guys, don't worry. Football, nothing. Life. Don't try. Don't ask me question. Interview over. Fucking prick. You are crazy. All day, 15 minutes, you ask same thing. Football, no football. Red card. Life. Hello. Pancake. Anyone have St. Patrick's Day on bingo card? Football. Don't worry. Future. Irrelevant. World War III. Bomb. Atomic weapon. No Arsenal title. Finger, claw, inch. We have to fight like any given Sunday. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Shall I leave my hat on? Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What are we doing here? Oh, fucking pour me a drink. Pour me a drink. It's St. Patrick's Day. Everyone, choo-choo. Igor choo-choo-do. Igor choo-choo-do. That's what we're doing here. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Fuck you. Fuck you, English media. Fuck you. No, Tudor. I'm Igor. We don't care. Don't be victim. Be hero. Or not. Don't care. Football, future, no life, no problem. I'm done. Interview over. Ah, fucking hilarious. So much fun. What did I do before AI, eh? What did I do? It's funny, I can still see, you can't see it, but I can still see Igor Tudor in a different window over here. And he's like, hey, look, cool fingernail. The chat showing, I think you're the Liverpool manager with that cap. Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 Anyway, let's get back to it. So Igor Tudor says we have some players back. We have Micky van der Ven. We have maybe Romero. We have obviously also football. No time to worry. No time for future. Don't worry about past. Don't worry about now. Don't worry about nothing. Everything will be okay. Don't worry. Be happy. Cause every little thing is gonna be all right. What are we doing here? What are we doing? The vodka's kicking in. The body's kicking in. So Lucas Berghvall, is he back? Is he back? Like, is he ready to be back? Or is he just like returned to training? Is he back or is he just returned to training? What are we doing here? Lisa, don't ever assume Don't ever assume. I do drink my 3 litres of water a day. Look, it's right here. A lot of the other bottle there. I do get them down. I do it. Not when I'm streaming. Streaming for me is like being down the pub. I know you guys only ever see me drinking, so therefore you assume that all I do is drink. I don't. But it's just when I press the go live button, it's the equivalent for me of being down the pub, you know? So if you walk into a pub and you see the same guy in there every Friday night and you always see a pint of beer in his hand, do you assume that he just always drinks? I mean, he might be a raging alcoholic. I don't know. Why is my hat sitting weird on my head? What's going on here? I also just realized I don't even need these headphones on because I'm not talking to anyone. So in reality, I was sitting there going, I'm so hot. These earphones are bloody, they're really making me hot. Why am I wearing them? I don't need them. I'm not talking to anyone. You can hear me. I don't need to hear anybody else. You will report back on Sean's drinking when he comes to Thailand. You want more drink? Oh, I can't do it. I'm going to get cancelled. I've got to be careful. Be careful. You're the female version of me, Lisa. Rat-a-ta-ta. Rat-a-ta-ta. Yeah, that guy down the pub you always see, he sees you too. Exactly, Jonesy. Exactly. Don't judge nobody. Don't judge nobody. He sees you too. He's thinking the same thing. He looks at you and goes, yeah, I know, bro. I know. Yeah, so Berghvall's back training. But what does that mean? Like, is he potentially on the bench? And are we rushing him back because we have no other options? And does that mean that he's going to miss the Forest game? You know? Does it? Bro, the entertainment you provide is first class. Thanks, man. Just being me, bro. Just being me. Appreciate you. If you do enjoy the stream, please do smash the like button. Please do smash the subscribe. Can we have a little like game? Can we have a little game of the likes? I don't know what we're on. I don't know what we're on. What are we on? And what can we be on? That's the question. Don't forget to smash the sub. Smash like, subscribe, and share. Smash like, subscribe. What are we doing here? But I do also, I want to also remind people. Something just happened there. As I went to click into my own stream, it said something about like there's a warning on the stream. That's weird. We're on 207 likes, people. There's 500 people here. Like, come on now. You can get to 300, can't we? What are we doing? What are we doing? Get up to 3. Come on, guys. Get up to 300 likes. And also, apparently there's something called hype. Can you hype the stream? Can you push a hype button? I don't know. I've never seen it before. But apparently there's like smash, like, subscribe, and hype. Can you hype it? I don't know what that means, but if you can hype it somehow, then that would be cool. Thank you very much. Indeedy do. This is the other thing, right, I wanted to talk to you about. You know, I don't think any of us have spoken about the problem with having 15 players available or 15 players out. It's not just about lack of options in the game, right? When you only have 2 outfield players that you can go to on the bench. It's also, right, you have to remember, how the fuck are they training? How are they doing? How are they running any? How are they running any like simulations in training? Because like they literally don't have anyone to train against. If there's only 15 people available, it's not like Brandon Austin is going to like make up as a centre back on the other side. Are they going to have to bring the entire like under 21s over and play against them, or are they just going to do 5 versus 5, or 6 versus 6, or 7 versus 7? Like, it's mental when you think about it. And if it is the under 21s, Marshall, then you're not getting any quality training in because these guys are all kids and they're not going to be of the standard. So like, you're not really capable of like having any meaningful degree of like difficult training where these players can play against players of their standard. So it's another problem. No one talks about this. Like the ramifications of injuries are not just fewer options available for the first team games. It basically means that your training is going to be incredibly limited in the value that it can provide to getting people ready for certain situations. It's going to basically be like touch rugby or flag football or whatever. You know, it's kind of the same, but it isn't. And I don't think we give that. I don't think we really consider how impactful that would be for a new manager coming in, trying to implement his tactical ideas when he doesn't really have any meaningful opposition to be able to like test them out and try them. So again, that doesn't mean that I'm giving him the grace and favor for that thing. I didn't give it to Thomas Frank or to Ange Postecoglou. Right? I don't want to go back to the manager before the manager, like the guy before the guy. Before the guy. But I think all of them are victims of that same problem. You know, I said earlier the first thing that needs to happen in the summer if we stay up is that Johan Lang has to go. The next priority, obviously, apart from getting a manager in and getting the like certain players out and certain players in, alongside that, there has to be some improvement in the medical team. And I would encourage the fucking football club as well to do what Real Madrid are doing. I've been saying to you guys for months and months and months that there is like I can't sit there and then have people tell me that the pitch at Tottenham Hotspur cannot possibly be a factor as to why we have the injuries we do. It's just like, trust me, bro. Right? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I'm not saying it is a factor or that it's entirely responsible, but to just sit there and tell me that it's not when there hasn't been an investigation into it, I just think it's just lunatic behavior to sit there and say, hang about, who are the teams with the most ACL injuries in Europe over the last X amount of years? Well, Real Madrid have had 7 ACLs in the last 2 years, right? Versus 3 in the 5 years before that. Okay, so what's different at Real Madrid in the last 2 years than the years before? Funnily enough, they're the only other team than Tottenham Hotspur that have a retractable pitch. Disproportionate high amount of long-term injuries at Real Madrid, disproportionately higher amount of long-term injuries at Tottenham. What's the common thought than everybody else in Europe? What's the form and the theme? Retractable pitches. Do not tell me that there's not a possibility that there is a link between the pitch and the injuries. And I'm not saying that every single injury has to have happened as a direct consequence of the pitch, but there's a hell of a lot of people that are talking about this on Instagram. I was saying this months and months before they brought their theories out. But they did the science and they said that on these thinner pitches, the sand and the soil gets more compact at the top end and it creates a different dynamic. And when you think about like these players are like well-oiled machines. Like they're not like people that just go to the gym and are physically fit, that play a bit of rugby or that go running, do a bit of cycling, do a bit of weight training. These guys are like highly tuned in the art and the things that they need for football. So any sort of like dislocation from the norm will increase the likelihood of those ligaments and tendons or muscles to go through trauma or stresses that are abnormal or unorthodox to what they're expecting. And at Tottenham Hotspur, I'm not saying that like maybe Odebear's like knee went because his foot got stuck in the grass as a direct consequence of the different style of grass at Tottenham and at Real Madrid than there is everywhere else. Maybe not. I'm not saying like just hypothetically. But the things that happen at the training ground or the things that happen, you know, away from home, the injuries that maybe happen away from home, or that injury happened at Newcastle, therefore it's nothing to do with the pitch. But you're playing on that pitch every other week or sometimes twice in a week. So you're running around on that style of turf, that style of pitch, which doesn't mean that the injuries have to be directly in accordance with playing on the pitch. It might be that the wear and tear on their muscles and on their joints and their ligaments and all that stuff, it just compounds over time to the point where somewhere else later, it's the final straw that broke the camel's back on that particular person's body. But the compounding effect of repetitive running and twisting and turning on a pitch that is different to how you play at the training ground and how you play a football in other stadiums, maybe I cannot for the life of me understand why people would go, no, it can't be that. And Real Madrid, to their credit, have launched an investigation. Oh, hang on. What's this? Read Van der Ven presser comments. I'll come back to that in a second. Like, Real Madrid have launched an investigation to figure out whether or not the retractable pitch is a contributing factor to the issues. We haven't. And why do I think that is? And this is me, look, you know, I call it as I see it. People always go, oh, Butler's a fucking ENIC defender or whatever. Again, I'm not. I just always defended against the outrageous arguments about Daniel Levy that were so one-sided and totally polarizing that I thought were unreasonable. That doesn't mean oh, shit. That doesn't mean that I would defend him. My microphone's just fallen off. I think I have to hold it. How about that? It's a heavy mic as well. What was I going with it? Yeah, I think that it's possible that Tottenham Hotspur don't want to know. I think it's entirely possible that Tottenham Hotspur don't want to know that they have maybe built themselves a £1 billion white elephant. Because how much money did it cost to put that retractable pitch in versus how much money have they made versus how much money have they potentially cost themselves in lost revenue if we go down? How much money we lost ourselves in not being in the Champions League because of injuries? How much money have we lost ourselves in merit payments because we finished 17th last year and we'll probably finish somewhere similar or definitely somewhere similar this year? You know, if it turns out that retractable pitch is in any way, shape or form contributing to the injury crisis, Tottenham Hotspur's ownership have blood on their hands. They've got £1 billion fucking white elephant, that's costing us in every way you possibly could because they got their eyes on other things than the football. So this narrative of like prioritizing the on-field football, well, that doesn't just extend in the scenario that I'm painting here. That wouldn't just extend to like, oh, Tottenham have got, you know, they're not willing to like identify the best players and spend the right money at the right time. It also might mean you prioritize revenue streams outside of football to the point where you spent so much money on a retractable pitch for NFL and rugby, all that bollocks and stadium stuff and the concerts and the boxing. And it's not just that you didn't buy the right players, but your efforts in that regard are costing us ridiculous sums of money because of the injury crisis. And then what do you do? If it turns out that it's true, how do you fucking fix it? Do you rip the whole thing out? You can't do that. How the fuck are you going to get it out? And then replace it with what? Can't do that. That would be unconscionable, right? That would just be like suicide for the brand, suicide for all of the revenue streams. It would just be an absolute disaster. Well, you might try to fix it, but maybe there's no easy fix. Maybe the consequences of having a retractable pitch that means that the grass that you have is so thin and so compounded and compacted that those injuries are going to happen more frequently anyway. And when people say, but there's not that many other players that get injured at Tottenham Hotspur. But again, if you're only playing at Tottenham once in a season, then like I'm not talking about like you might have someone that dislocates their knee or someone that ruptures their ACL or whatever else just because they land separately and it immediately twists. But if the injury concerns are because of the compounding effect of like just wear and tear on the body and the joints, then those players that come to Tottenham are not necessarily going to go through that. But we do know that, you know, the NFL players used to complain about the Tottenham Hotspur, the artificial pitch version. They said it was like playing on concrete. So they had concerns. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, if Real Madrid have a sudden explosion in ACLs and they're the only other team in Europe that have a retractable pitch, the fact that they have the stones to investigate and Tottenham don't, I think it's madness to sit there and say it can't be the retractable pitch. Not that I'm an expert. I'm a complete donut in medical. I don't know anything about medical stuff. So, you know, could be talking absolutely out of my ass. I could be. But I would love to hear someone explain to me, an expert at Tottenham Hotspur. I'd love to hear a Sky journalist go to Tottenham, speak to Vinay, speak to the medical team, get an interview with someone that actually knows what they're talking about, and then to probe the question, what is going on with your ongoing injuries? Like, you have a disproportionately higher amount of injuries every season for the last 3 or 4 years than everybody else. As far as I remember, there was a statistic that said that the average maximum players that any other team in the Premier League had out at any one point in time in the last 18 months was 5 players from their squad. The average max. Tottenham's minimum players out at any point in time during that period was 6. what are we doing here? Like, it can't just be because we change performance director when we change manager. Because if that's a common theme with every manager, then every other team that changes their managers would also go through that same variable. And yet they don't have the same consequences to their injury list. And you can't tell me that we built a fucking 7-star hotel and the best training ground in Europe, but don't have the best medical equipment. In fact, my man Gary, who works in and around the football club in that department, says we've had the best in class in that world. I'm sorry. I can't believe he also said that we used to have the best medical staff in the game, and maybe we don't have quite as good as some of the people that left. But like, it's a science, right? It's not like an art. Like, people read books, they understand how the body works. Like, you might have micro innovations in how like those things happen, but like, you're still gonna, like, there's gonna be levels to doctors, right? And there's gonna be some doctors are better than others, right? Some surgeons are like best in class, others are maybe like just bang average, others are probably poor. But you're still gonna have like a general theme, a general standard of which no one's gonna drop below. It's not like a lawyer, or it's not like a fucking, I don't know, a barista or a hairdresser. Like, you're gonna have certain standards. So I just think that it's so crazy to me that people say it can't be the stadium. It can't be. Why can't it be? Why can't it be? And Tottenham need to look into it. And if they don't want to look into it because they don't want to know the answer, then I want someone who's got access to the football club that is more than willing to fucking probe Igor Tudor every chance they get. Are you the right guy for the job? Are you the right guy for the job? Are you going to get sacked? Do you think you're the right guy for the job? Will you still be here? Like, how about stop asking those fucking questions and start asking the football club some of the questions around why it is that every man, or one of the reasons why every manager that's been here for the last 3 or 4 years has had exactly the same like hang up, exactly the same bottleneck, the options and the ability to not only put players on the pitch, but actually conduct training that offers value. If those questions aren't being asked internally, someone who has access to the football club should be asking them externally. And the fact that they haven't been asked, again, it begs the question, why? Is it because you don't get to ask these questions if you want to get the next story? If we're talking about the PR spin and the plants and all those things, which we know are happening at Tottenham Hotspur. 100%. As I said, Vinay comes in and says, oh, there's an insufficient level of expertise in certain divisions. Okay, Vinay, you've been here 10 months. What exactly is it that you have changed in the deficit of expertise in divisions of the football club? The only thing that I can see that you've employed is a PR master and communications director and a marketing person. Cool. Maybe, just maybe, the prioritization within the new majority owner vibe is not about finding the truth and fixing it. It's about masquerading. What's the word I'm looking for? It's about pretending like everything is not how it seems. It's about spinning the story. What is the fucking word I'm looking for? I hate it when I'm on a rant and my mouth doesn't find the answer that my brain looks for. Masquerading. Idiot Butler. That's the clip ruined. If you really want to, what's in the best interest of Tottenham Hotspur, stop spinning the truth, start finding the fucking truth and fix it. And injuries is a massive element, a huge, huge division of this football club that, if it continues to be left unresolved, will hold back any manager. And it doesn't matter if Tottenham Hotspur spend 500 million quid and brings in 75 million pound players. Because if 25 players is all you can have in your squad, and at any one point in time, 14 of them might be injured, why would it change with 75 million pound players versus being the consistent theme with 30 or 40 million pound players? Like, you need to fix the injuries and as well as improve the squad. Because if you've only got 10 ready-made players, you're fucked either way. You are fucked either way. You know? Anyway, I've got no idea where I went on that rant. I don't even know how I got to. No idea how I got to fucking the injury crisis. What was I talking about before the injury crisis? Igor Tudor. This and that. Just fucking handle truth. Don't worry about problem. Life tomorrow, maybe not nail. Maybe beer, maybe lunch. Maybe Poodle. Don't worry about Poodle. Be like Poodle. Poodle doesn't know about past. Poodle doesn't know about future. Only now. Train, problem, football, life. Nail. True nail. Igor Tudor out. Absolutely. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Sean, can you read Van der Ven's presser? Where do I find that? Van der Ven press. Oh, because he's going to be fucking captain again tomorrow, isn't he? He's going to be captain again tomorrow. I've got 2 minutes left. Is there a... Hang about. Am I going to be able to do this without getting... Okay, 1 second. Hang about. How do I do this? Oh, for fuck's sake, I've just lost it. Micky Van der Ven. All right, let me see.
There's some reports that some players are switched off, thinking about next season. Have you heard that, and how unfair do you think that is?
Yeah, of course, I've seen things passing by. It's not something I look at a lot, to be honest, but it's just like reporters just say some things the way just like, how do you even come up with this? Like, players are switched off or don't care about the situation, what's happening right now. And the only thing I can say about it's not true. Like, it will be strange if a player will be in the dressing room now and saying like, oh, I'm going to leave either way, or I don't focus about the situation because, yeah, everything that's going to happen, it doesn't affect me. And I think it's just nonsense. It's just like things they're just bringing out. And yeah, it's only like, and people just start believing it. And what I said, it's the biggest nonsense. Everybody's just focused on like what's going ahead and what's in front of us.
Do we believe him, chat? Do we believe him? He looks like he's a man who doesn't have... he's not happy. I'm surprised he's captain. Well, actually, I'm not surprised, but there you go. He's the captain tomorrow, so that means he's going to play again. Listen, it might be true. It might be true that all of the stuff in the commentary, all the media stuff is a load of bollocks. It might very well be true. And then if that's the case, then I feel bad. You know, I feel bad for going after Micky Van der Ven. I think we should all. Well, we won't know. But my gut tells me that he doesn't want to be here. My gut tells me he's checked out. My gut tells me he was the responsible factor for why we lost heavily against Crystal Palace. My gut told me that my eyes told me that he should have been sent off against Atletico Madrid, and then it would have been a fucking horrendous situation. And my gut also tells me, guys, that it's 2:45, and we're going to go over to go over to Football Inc. So stay where you are. Stay where you are. Let me just set up the redirect. And we got to hang around. Where am I doing this? Stream customization. What are we doing here? Control V. That's not it. Right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for the super chiddly chit chats. And I will see you in literally 10 seconds over on Football Inc. Hang around, right? We're going to talk more about it right now. There's 550 here. Please don't forget to smash like, subscribe, hit the hype button. Whatever that hype button is, if you can see it around your thing, smash the hype button if you enjoyed the show. I love you all. Listen, guys, don't worry, okay? Football live commentary, Football Inc. Fuck them. Live, donkey, carrot, stick. Fuck it. Bye, guys. See you later. Bye.